In the interest of looking up and following the good admonition of the Messiah and the warnings that as in the days of Noah, hashtag as in the days of Noah, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. We're going to look at some of the testimony preceding the flood in order to get through the flood that is coming. In the year 500, we're in chapter 60. Some of your translations will be 58, or depending on which rendition of Enoch's testimony you have. In the year 500, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, in the life of Noah, in the parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens quake, and the host of the Most High and the angels, thousands of thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were greatly disturbed. And the head of days, in Daniel's testimony, the Father is called the Ancient of Days, and here he's referred to as the head of days. Again, the word head, Rosh, as in Rosh Chodesh, or Rosh Hashanah, Rishon, meaning first, and Bereshit, which means beginning. So the answer is yes on all three of those. They share the same Semitic root and point to one location. So when you think of the term day, don't consider it just a cycle of light here as it's observed from Earth. It isn't. Day existed before the luminaries were created. And day is, quite frankly, a path of light to the head of days. And it says, and the head of days was sitting on the throne of his glory, and the holy and righteous angels were standing around him, and great trembling took hold of me, and fear seized me. And my loins were crushed, and my kidneys loosened, and I fell upon my face. And Michael sent another angel from among the holy ones, and he raised me up. And when he raised me up, my spirit returned to me. Or my spirit returned. He really was shaken. For I had not been able to endure the appearance of that host, and its turmoil and the quaking of the heavens. And Michael said to me, what have you seen that you're so disturbed? Until today has the day of his mercy lasted. That's going to be very, very important. Again, this is foundational in the interest of looking up regarding certain day when mercy ceases. And it's important to note that the 14th day of the 7th month is a good 3 days prior to the 17th day of the 7th month. So here you have a third day prior to the 17th day of the 7th month, which is a bookend for the flood account at the time of Noah. You've got the 17th day of the 2nd month, which is the same day that Eve was deceived and the serpent deceived there in the beginning. And that's a one bookend, or parentheses, on one side. And the opposite side of that in this time of the flood, which is the example the Messiah himself used regarding the days in which we live. The other end is the 17th day of the 7th month. So I'll repeat it again. The first bookend is the 17th day of the 2nd month. The second is the 17th day of the 7th month. And 3 days before that second bookend, hashtag third day, is the 14th day of the 7th month. Now go back to verse 5. It says, Michael, who is described in Daniel as the prince who watches over the people of Israel. It says in Daniel, he will stand up, and the fight's fixing to get on. And you will be buttressed with support from above. So do not fear, and don't let your kidneys and bowels be shaken too much from within you, because the Father will not leave us astray. The angels in the heavens, the holy angels in the 6th heaven, the 7th heaven, and the archangels, again, will fight on our side as well. And that's going to be important when the Trump flag or the Biden flag falters, and your way is confused and confounded, and the host of heaven is cast down from the heavens 42 months prior to Messiah Yeshua putting an end to certain matters of rebellion below here on earth, that'll be good to tap into that source and that walk in that righteousness that would cause the holy angels to come to your aid and assistance. I was reminded of a passage in a proverb where it says, "Wealth is worthless in the day of wrath, but righteousness can spare one from death." So when your coin, which you hold on to with white knuckles, to be sure, most of the time for most people, fails you and you throw it in the street because it doesn't taste very good with the mayonnaise that you don't have, the righteousness of God and the righteousness of the head of days, his righteousness, which he will place upon you, will get you through the death that surrounds you, to be sure. So, back in verse 5, Michael said, "What have you seen that you are so disturbed? Until today has the day of his mercy lasted." This is a day of doom coming. And people put off the day of doom. They did it in the past with prophets of old, and they do it today, saying peace, peace, peace and security, while not knowing the times. Before I got on this little video, I watched on Twitter, there's a guy in Hebron who will not answer his brother's words. Straight, clear speech spoken in the light of day, but it continually averts his eyes. He's posting a picture of a Nazi flag being raised in Israel, while simultaneously out of his mouth saying Shabbat Shalom and peace, peace, peace and security, just like Jeremiah warned about, and lo, the Torah is with us, boasting about being descendants of Moses, having no idea what's coming upon him, thinking peace, the thing that needs to be declared, as he is about to be overtaken by savage marauders from all sides. Imagine the cognitive dissonance necessary to dwell in an individual that would have them thinking peace, the thing you need to be shouting about when war is on the horizon. Until today, Michael said, this day of his mercy had lasted. And he has been merciful and long-suffering to those who dwell on the earth. The Father is slow to wrath and slow to anger. He is patient, it says in the canonical sources, not willing that any would suffer, but that all would come to repentance. And to be sure, repentance is connected to making an about face and turning, not just crying while masking rebellion in your heart, but genuinely turning from your wicked ways and turning from your twisted ways. And that time frame is associated in timekeeping mechanisms in the Dead Sea Scrolls with 4 cardinal points of the year, and of course the turning, or the tekufa of the sun during the turn of the years. In 2nd Enoch adds that time of turning. Enoch adds to that time of turning the fact that there are 2 other times where the sun makes a turning, on the 17th day of the 2nd month and the 17th day of the 7th month. Those are times where the colorful vernacular is used, where the sun has a throne upon which it rests in 2nd Enoch, which is directly paralleled later in the time of the flood, which is what we're talking about here at the time of Noah, and of course the time we live in today and the very near future. That day being 7/14 on the heavenly timekeeping mentioned in detail in not only Enoch but also in canonical sources. I'm going to read it again just because I believe it to be instrumental. Until today has the day of his mercy lasted, and he has this head of days, and he has been merciful and long-suffering to those who dwell upon the earth. And when the day and the power and the punishment and judgment has come, which the Lord of spirits has prepared for those who do not worship in righteousness, and for those who deny righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain. And that day has been prepared for the elect, even a covenant and a visitation. Down in verse 7, it says, on that day 2 monsters. I'll go into more detail about this later. I think it would be worthy of looking into some of the typology in cultures that followed Enoch's testimony. I'm going to say it again. Enoch's testimony precedes the post-flood cultures in Sumer and Mesopotamia and Babylon. They are the latter product and not the foundation, despite what the schools of the Assyriologists would have you believe. On that day, two monsters were separated. You'll find these mentioned in the canon also. The female monster, whose name is Leviathan or Leviathan, to dwell in the depth of the sea, #beast out of the sea, above the fountains of the waters. But the name of the male is Behemoth, who occupies with his breast the trackless dry places of the desert, named Dudael. I've hashtagged this already. Dudael or Dundayan. Dudael is #DUDAEL. Again, #DUDAEL is, I believe, what the hashtag I used, which is east of the garden where the chosen and righteous dwell, where my great-grandfather was taken, the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of Spirits created. There's your answer about all the other people. That many people would believe that there were multiple people that were made and that Adam is just one of them. That is a lie. Sin entered through one man, Adam, and as a result, death. That is a matter affirmed in your apostolic writings. We were not created as a populace, a bunch of people, to water down the genuine creation story affirmed in Enoch and in your scriptures. He asked the other angel to show me the might of those monsters. I asked another angel to show me the might of those monsters, #beast out of the sea, #beast out of the earth, how they were separated in one day and were thrown in, the one into the depth of the sea and the other to the dry land of the desert. And he said to me, "Here, son of man, you wish to know what is hidden." And the angel of peace who was with me said, "These two monsters are prepared according to the greatness of the Lord." And then there's a footnote here. This is fragmentary section where the text was defective. And so anything beyond it is speculation. But it goes on to say, so that the punishment of the Lord of Spirits rests upon them, in order that the punishment of the Lord of Spirits does not go forth in vain. And then it says, and children will be killed with their mothers, and the children with their fathers, when the punishment of the Lord of Spirits rest upon them. Afterwards will be the judgment according to his mercy and long suffering. And we're going to start a new segment in just a second regarding the gathering of the righteous, which is connected with the north as well. Remember, we talked about the righteous king coming from the east and the north. Before that, I wanted to talk about the destruction of the judgment of the wicked, which paralleled in the flood account at the time of Noah. And let me stop that.